Initially, we'd all been told that at the scene by the business, we'd been told by the business that all of the employees were accounted for. Tragically, that was not the case.
Overnight, new information from Tuesday's plant explosion at Givaudan saying it was a miscommunication that led to the late discovery of the body of an employee killed in that blast. The employee was found late Tuesday night by the fire department hours after the company had told emergency services all workers were accounted for. A spokesperson said overnight, in part, plant leaders used clock-in information immediately after that incident to establish site headcount. The typical evacuation site was unavailable, and the team used 2 alternative locations, and as a result, there was a miscommunication between the teams. Our Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Aspen Hester explain the confusion this caused for emergency workers.
At some point they learned, oh, there might be one more person missing, and so I don't know, I just thought that was an odd way for things to play out. Like, they weren't sure about who was in the building.
Frustration after rescuers and city leaders were told quickly after the blast that all employees were accounted for.
Tragically, that was not the case.
The body of a worker was found under the massive debris of the food additive plant hours after the blast. For the first time, we learned how emergency leaders found out.
When the family started showing up, we started getting the calls back that said that, hey, there still may be someone else in the building.
Louisville EMS Executive Director Jody Myman said once crews were told by a family member that there could be other victims in the building, Louisville firefighters went right back inside.
They found that person within an hour, and they had to do a lot of debris removal, and then they were able to get them out in about 2.5 to 3 hours.
There was a tremendous level of trauma to this victim.
A fatal explosion felt by neighbor Matt Rosenfield.
And then the house shook, the couch shook. I heard glass rattle.
That could have ended in more tragedy.
Some of those buildings, facilities like that are made to blow out like that. So when they're made to blow out, it doesn't create pressure from an explosion inside.
As for the future of the plant in the Clifton neighborhood, Metro Council's Andrew Owen had a blunt answer.
The neighbors want the company gone.
For now, it's too early to say. Alex Dieterer, WHAS11 on your side.
Givaudan says it is too early to say if or when that facility will reopen. Well, for the first time since that explosion, we are hearing from officers and emergency crews who were on that scene in the chaotic aftermath. Take a listen.
Some kind of, I don't know if it's a salvage yard, metal plant or whatever, but there's a huge header coming out of that. It's right at 19 at one thing. Fire's going to have to cut a fence or something to get through. Fire's probably going to have to find another way in. There's wires down everywhere, shrapnel from whatever exploded here. We're probably going to have to find another way in.
You may also have noticed that a citywide alert did not go out this time with this explosion. The alert system, Lens Alert, typically sends emergency messages to your cell phone and email. Louisville Emergency Services Director Jody Myman said there was a human error for the lack of these alerts, but he did say they went out over social media. City leaders still encourage you to sign up. You can text the word Lens Alert to that number on your screen. That's 67283. Investigators in Indiana are working to identify human remains found in Scott County. According to the sheriff's office, deputies and state police discovered the skeletal remains on Monday, and they were found in the same wooded area where 40-year-old Amanda Martin was last seen. The family of the Scottsburg mother of 3 says she went missing in September. Sheriff Jerry Gooden said, in part, we are saddened by the discovery of these remains, but we also realize the family can now possibly begin to heal. Gooden added that the investigation is still active. A forensic exam to determine the cause of death and the identity of those remains could take up to 8 weeks. A 19-year-old is the new coroner for Scottsburg, Indiana. That's Brighton Ritchie there. He said he became interested after working at a funeral home over the last few months. He started his bid for coroner just before graduating high school, and Ritchie won that primary and then ran unopposed in the general election. He's now working on completing the necessary training and line up his duty with working full-time at a fire department. Former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll and his family are preparing to sell their assets to pay back debts. The Indiana Attorney General's office and each of the Knoll family's attorneys have agreed on a mediator and realtors in both Florida and Indiana. That decision came down yesterday in court. Misty Knoll, the estranged wife of Jamie, was the only family member in attendance. Attorney Larry Wilder has asked to be Jamie Knoll's commissioner to sell his assets while he's in prison. The family is moving to sell Jamie Knoll's pole barn, at least 2 homes and several classic cars. But the judge in the case doesn't think it'll be enough.
But I think there's a pretty safe assumption here that the amount of recovery from the sale of property, real estate, personal property, is not going to be close to what the amount of the existing judgment is, probably the amount of the judgment that the Attorney General could proceed against.
Knoll has been ordered to repay $3.1 million in his criminal case, and the Attorney General's office wants $4 million in his civil cases. Tonight, TARC will hold an open house on its proposed service changes. The agency says budget concerns are causing it to make a series of service reductions. We know 3 routes will be completely discontinued. Those are routes 22, 52, and 63. Several others will be consolidated and the frequency of buses reduced. All changes will go into effect near the end of January, and you can speak with TARC staff at tonight's meeting about those changes. It runs from 5 until 7 at the Shively City Hall on Dixie Highway.